Well, welcome back to the channel. This is not a Profit Playbook podcast episode, but I thought since Jenna wasn't with me today, she's dealing with some medical things that it's understandable that she's not going to be able to make it today. And I thought I would get the guys on the show to come and hang out with me today. So I wanted the title is, there's a lot of things I guess we can clear the air about, a lot of different topics that have happened within the YouTube reselling world. But I just wanted to put this out here right now. This program right here, it's called List Easier, and that's the website. And I could tell you guys this, it's clear in the air. If you bought an AI listing program and used it, it ain't this guy's, it ain't Josh's, it ain't his. Right there, it ain't his.
So don't come for me. Don't come in the chat I'm in and tell me I'm a loser or whatever that guy did today. I have not mentioned the other person by name, the other program. In no way I have said ever to go use that. Yes, there you go.
Now, here's the good news. It is coming, guys. It's very, very close to being here. As Josh may have said, I don't know, maybe you want to talk about your program coming up, but look, it ain't out yet because of all the things that maybe people have experienced with other listing programs, and they didn't want that to happen. So I think that's fair to say without going into all the problems that people have reported. You guys can watch Big Yumbo or anything like that to see what that's about. But Josh, tell us a little bit more about, the developments with List Easier and when this thing's coming out, so everyone, it's clear for everyone, so they know what's happening here.
Yeah, we're super close right now as far as the software is concerned. So we actually had the software for the most part fully built out in February, but there's a big jump from building out functional software to actually making it commercially viable. So that has been February or March until this point. So, without boring everyone with the details, there's legal that's involved. You have to get accountants involved. We have to do audits with eBay. We work directly with the eBay developer program. They're auditing us, looking at what we're doing, making sure the site's secure. We have to go through security audits with payment processors. And if you've ever been through an audit, it's not like they audit you and that's the end of it. They're requesting information, you give it to them, then they request something else, and you do that back and forth over and over and over again. So we passed our final audit with our payment processor. With one exception, they wanted a small change to the refund policy. So we made that change, and now we've sent it back to them. And that's kind of where we're at right now. So the site's built out with all categories. It's ready to go. The beta testers are using it. We just have to get that one last little thing done, and it's really outside of our control. So the reason why John was talking about this earlier for everyone about us not launching and the confusion, there is a lot of confusion out there. There is someone who owns a site, and the name is very similar to ours. It was purchased after we started, and they've created a mirror site. So it's not actually us. It's just like a fake copy site. Yeah. So someone's out there playing dirty, but I promise you all that this is close. You all know me. I'm honest and genuine. This is going to be the bomb. And we're almost there. We're almost there. Nobody wants this out more than I do, so I'm ready to go with this.
So that's the name right there. List Easier, guys. Anything else is subpar. I'll just put it that like. If I could trust what James is doing and what he's talking about, then of course I know Josh very well just from all the time that we've spent talking and on the program. This guy ain't gonna come out and sell you just a hill of beans.
And I'll personally vouch for Super Dave. Somebody might have introduced him to reselling, and that guy was a genius. So I'll go ahead and vouch for Super Dave, one of the other Canadians.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. And so be on the lookout, guys. And I know that they're working on, maybe trying to introduce a lower pricing tier for smaller volume sellers.
Yeah, I think that's probably coming. We've had a lot of feedback where people want a $39.99 for 500 listings kind of category. I would think that that's most likely in development or in the works. So that's one of the things that we're talking about. And I just want to say to everyone, because there are people that feel like they're falling behind. They're like, other people are using this. I'm falling behind. I want to use it for my stuff. The number one thing that this site has to be is completely secure. So you do not want, trust me, everyone, you do not want issues where people have access to your data, either your eBay data or your payment data. You do not want that. So for us, we deal directly with the payment processor that serves as a bank. They have to follow all the banking regulations or they get shut down, all the security regulations, and then they audit us to make sure we're doing the same thing as well. That's the same with eBay. That's a direct connection with eBay's API. We can't see that data. We don't know what your password is or any of that other stuff. I can't speak for every site, but for us, we don't want that responsibility. We don't want that in our hands. So but to get to that point, we need to get audited by eBay, and eBay has to say, okay, you know what? You guys are okay. You guys are doing everything we want you to do.
So the other thing too, Josh, is you've been telling us you're not going to get left behind. They don't have the limitations others have. You've got millions of people you can put to this thing.
4 million people we can accommodate on the site right now, which is the maximum that anybody can do. So, yeah.
So 4 million. Don't worry, you'll get taken care of. You'll get your chance to try it. No worries.
Yeah. So there's always a little FOMO going on, but avoid feeling the way, I think we all sometimes feel when something new comes out and we just want to get our hands on it. You know what? Good things come to those who wait. So be patient.
And I'm being held accountable. I mean, I have probably 50 people a day that either reach out through messages by phone or through email, and they're like, what's going on? Is this still happening? So I'm held accountable here, and everything is going as well as can be expected.
Folks, don't worry. John and I are holding him accountable every day.
Well, we've been harassing him too. Because, I have, you might not look at me as someone who could use that tool. I list a lot of larger items, and I don't really deal with a lot of bulk stuff. But I'm sitting on almost 500 car parts in my storage unit that's just itching to get listed. And while I don't quite know if like the compatibility thing works with any AI lister, the compatibility tool, the drop down that'll tell you the make, model, year of the car. I'm still wanting to get the draft done so I can get in there and add the price and add the the make, model, year, all the good stuff. It's a lot better than me going in and just trying to do it myself. Talking like $10, $15, $20 parts, and I'm really not trying to do that. And with the limited time that I have in a day, you only have so many hours in a day, and you need to plan and use it wisely. So,
yeah. Well, and James, I mean, everybody knows who James Helverstay is. He's beat the hell out of the software for us. So he's found things that we didn't even know existed. And we've been fixing it and making it better and rebuilding. So I'm pretty happy with it.
Here's Todd. Thank you, Todd, for the super chat. Appreciate you, buddy. Where is the lister advertised besides YouTube? Besides, our channels, I guess. Are you planning on doing any advertisement?
I mean, we're going to go through all the channels to make this thing a success, of course. And we want to build the platform out and do things with it. Like, we have a long roadmap of things that we want to do. But for now, it's going to go out probably for a month or so. I don't really know exactly how long. Just to, I call it friends and family. Basically, everyone who watches our channels, the people who are watching right now, which everyone is a very small sliver of the YouTube community. This is what we said we wanted to do. Give it to our friends, have them use it, get their death piles listed, get ahead of everyone else, and then we'll start working on larger accounts and all that other stuff, marketing and advertising.
But also, it also gives us a chance to be your test guinea pigs as well too. We'll find. I'm sure things will turn up, and you guys will fix it pretty quick. But
one of the big ones is that, I mean, we've tested to like sickness. Yeah. It's been tested over and over and over again. So, for example, speed. Like we're on with accuracy. Speed. We've been pushing data packets through to make sure that it's still fast. So we're log jamming up our data feeds to make sure that we still carry the speed in case we have a lot of users. So something like that, what is that going to look like when the data network is all over the country? So we don't know exactly, but we think it's going to be the same as our data testing. But again, this is important because you don't want people all going onto the site and then it's just a spinning wheel. It's not working for anyone, or, we have to gate how many people can use it. We'd rather do all that testing beforehand. And once it goes out, everyone can just have a good time and get their stuff up.
Yeah. Well, we're waiting patiently, and I'm sure it's going to be every bit as advertised. Well, Beer's not waiting patiently.
I'm waiting impatiently.
So
Beer is waiting impatiently.
I gotta say now, look, I'm talking about this on my channel, right? So hopefully there's no blowback. It's controversial. Has nothing to do with listing programs, but our friend Big Al, I'm kind of concerned for what he's got going on, but it makes me wonder, if Big Al, for those of you who don't know, Big Al's eBay account he's been permanently shut down and from selling on eBay now. Put a video out today, and I'm kind of concerned for those of us who are critical of eBay. I joke in jest about going to eBay Open and saying, hey, they're going to put me behind a potted plant in the corner. But I hope that's the extent of it. I really do rely on eBay for a good percentage of my income. And look, I make these videos just to talk about what I really go through, and it wouldn't be right to just talk about all the some of the positive things that we deal with eBay when there's so many things that do cause problems for resellers. So I'm just putting it out there, eBay. I'm not your enemy. I'm just here to talk about my experience.
So the one thing I would tell you, John, and you see a lot of things eye to eye, is if eBay does something good, I'll be the first one to scream good, bad. I call it like I see it. I don't have an agenda against eBay. I don't wish them any harm, because that would be so dumb. I want them to, I don't advocate for them to go on the side of the buyers or the sellers. Make it even, stay in the middle, recruit people. We love your platform. Let's go. We're just frustrated that it's changed so much, because most of us are old school sellers who have come from a position of loving this platform. I've been on eBay since 2000, for God's sakes. It's not, you don't stick around that long. My son was 2 years old when I started this stuff, piddling around online on eBay. So you don't hang around that long if something that you don't like, you don't care about, you don't have a vested interest in. And so at any time that I'm critical, it comes from a position of concern, not hate, not any divisiveness. And then also for letting people know, look, this is what's happening, because I think someone needs the responsibility of saying, I've encountered this. Don't make my mistake. So,
yeah, I've said critical things of eBay too, but not of them in particular, but of like, if there are issues on the platform, like visibility or glitches or all this other stuff, you guys know I've said it, but there also has to be a line, I think, that you have to be careful not to cross. When you start, let's just leave it at that. There is a line. And I think if you worked for someone, like if you worked for a big company, you could be critical of stuff the company does, but there is definitely a line that if you cross, you're like, these guys are going to fire me. Exactly. Certain things you just can't do, so.
Right. Well, we're going to kind of hang out for about an hour and a half or so before our beard show at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern time. And you guys have any topics you guys want to talk about? Or if you guys in the chat want to talk about something, also, we'll be glad to go. And I'll try to catch up with your comments if I can, because we have 3 people now talking, so it might be difficult to get to every comment. But if there's anything you guys want to talk about, just put it in the chat.
So you didn't want to ask me if I was going to have a show. You just assumed I was having a show tonight.
I want to assume that you're having a show. Am I right? Am I right? See?
Even though I did schedule it for 7 o'clock this morning, it is tonight.
When is your next show? Whatnot show?
Tomorrow night we are doing a vintage show tomorrow night.
Okay.
Who's we? You and Joni?
Yeah, she's the vintage. Her vintage shows. We went out today, but we got quite a bit of stuff. We had a good time today. So we've got a new grocery store here in town. This is the third or fourth one they've opened, but we hadn't been to the other one because they're on the out of the way. Food City out of Virginia has moved in. They're building 6 large grocery stores here. So she drugged me there, and I felt like a hostage for like an hour wandering around. I mean, it's a grocery store. Can we go? I got to see this and that. I'm like, oh Lord, have mercy. It was fun, but we went thrifting. We had a good time. So
Okay. Well, just want to give a shout out to Biff Boffo's here with us. We have Keith. We have Brenda, who has had someone try to scam her off of a refund 60 days ago. And wow, that sounds like she's going through some stuff. Jovial wants to know, get your free 7-Eleven Slurpee today. French Friday. So nice to see you, Jovial. We got Derek W. Pat. And I guess Jovial's our official person that gives us whatever today is. So it's Polyphenol Day.
except for Monday, you called her out on Monday.
Polyphenol.
Polyphenol? What the hell is that?
It's a chemical, I guess, that's in dark chocolate.
Oh, see? Goes to show you what I know, which is next to nothing. Mike says, Mike Meck goes, hi, John, Scott, and Josh. How's everyone? I had an exceptionally good yard sale day today. Came home with 5 full IKEA bags and spent under $60. Some good stuff, too. 6 items will bring at least $50.
Nice.
You guys go yard selling on Friday? I don't even think about it. It's not even on my radar.
There weren't many here today, like 1 or 2, so I didn't leave. But yeah, it's a thing here.
Copper Cat, nice to see you. Duncan, I'm eating KFC tonight just for you. eBay sales have been good. Always send ephemera back to the origins of envelopes and letters. Any cicadas or crickets there? I heard Jenna was making KFC t-shirts. Only for you. Only for you. Kevin Hawthorne with us, and James Helferstay. It's he's our master lister, or list easier. I'm only here for a Guinness World Record. I think you already hold that for most eBay items in your basement. You got to check that. Biff says the Big Al has reached the point of no return. Did you see his video today?
This is what I'm saying, Biff. You can be critical, but you really got to be careful. You don't cross that line. I mean,
what is the line? So let's figure this out. What is the line for YouTubers when it comes to eBay? Is it, talking about forming a union? Is it talking about, recording reps? Because I've done that before.
No, you cannot. They changed. I think it's in the TOS. You cannot record reps. I think that anything threatening is like when you start threatening people or just that hope. I don't know. Like, I love Big Al. I really, really like him. I consider him a friend. I don't like to see him going through this, but he's at full blown war with eBay.
So this is not an eBay thing. Amazon's the same way. If you treat their reps bad, or if you any kind of stuff, Amazon is quick to pull the plug on you for mistreatment of personnel. So,
but it's like fighting with a ghost. There's no one there. It's like fog. You're fighting against the fog. It's a huge corporation. There's no individual person that you're kind of dealing with, but you just got to be careful. I think I was good at never crossing the line, despite, when I was really frustrated, but I have seen people really cross the line, and it usually doesn't end well.
Let's see.
Todd misses Jenna.
Yeah, she is not able to make it today, but she will be on the episode on Monday. So stay tuned for her on that. We've got Biscuit Butts with us. Nice to see you,
Archie.
buddy. Ron Harvest Hope. Nice to see you. And just trying to get caught up on the chat and make sure everyone at least gets acknowledged. Andy Reno says, what? Yep. We still have our episode tomorrow morning, normal time. Make sure you're there. Chicken Nugget Queen, what's up, boys? Nice to see you. The Crazy Card, clear the air. What happened? I think sometimes we just got to come out and talk about things that we normally wouldn't. I know this is a very uncomfortable topic for Josh to talk about, and that's, a lot of the mistakes or a lot of the things that are going on are not because of him. Whether it's billing errors, title errors, pricing errors.
I don't even have a software out yet.
Pricing spreadsheet, not AI, but pricing that's pulling from a spreadsheet, errors, or any kind of errors as a result of using any AI lister up to this point is not because of Josh. So that's kind of clearing the air. And I think, it's unfair to give him a bad rap when he hasn't even done anything yet.
I don't feel like I'm going to say this. I don't feel like I have a bad rap. Everything that's to this, like, I don't even want to have that stuff in the same sentence as what we're doing. So I don't want any of that even in the same sentence. I feel super pump and charged with everything that we're doing. I feel amazing about it. I have received absolutely no negative feedback. The only constructive feedback has been coming from James, and that's for changes.
Yeah.
But this is only good right now. So I don't know what else is going on in the world of AI listing software. My focus is just this, getting it to the people who I want to get it to, and, making it better, working with my team. That's all that matters to me right now. And James knows the person who's acting CEO of this company did something like really incredible, which really shows his character yesterday. And I don't want to say what it is. And this is all stuff within the company. And I'm like, this is a genuine good person. This is genuinely a good team. I've always said, be careful of people who don't carry people along. You know what I mean? If you meet someone or you do business with someone and they've never, they don't have any friends, they don't have any business partners, they don't have anyone they work with, it's probably because they're constantly turning them over all the time. They can't be trusted. But then you meet people that, they work with people for long periods of time. That's because they're good people, they're good at business, and people trust them. So it's better to have a bad deal with a good partner than a good deal with a bad partner, because that bad partner is always going to screw you over. So all that stuff that's going on in the world, I don't even want it in the same sentence as what we're doing. I don't even want to address it. I want nothing to do with it.
But you don't want to be involved in that by association that you are coming out with a similar product, but
it's not similar though. It's not similar. It's like miles and miles and miles away from.
Without going into any other person's product out there, can you tell us how your lister is different than any other lister?
There are some proprietary things that I don't want to discuss, but what those proprietary things boil down to is speed, accuracy, and pricing. I don't believe there's anyone who can touch us on pricing. When you get down to like in the 3 to 7 cents a listing range, doesn't matter how many photos you put up, anything else, you're going to get accurate, fast listings. No one can touch us. The amount of items that you can do, you can bulk list 500 items at once if you want. No one else can do that. They can do maybe one by one or whatever. They just can't do it, and there are reasons why they can't do it. Even stuff like our direct connections, our audits, our payment processors, the code, you just can't touch it. Just can't touch it. So that's why I don't want to address anything else that's going on, but I do want to send my respect out to everyone else, because I've seen it with my own eyes. These are super difficult problems to work on. This is not easy software. Like, the integrations are extremely difficult. So anyone who's throwing their hat in the ring gets my full respect. So that's why I'm like, I don't want to talk bad about anyone, but I also don't want anyone's problems to reflect on me, because that we're not in that whole group of what's going on. We're on our own doing our own thing.
So we have a question from Henri Squaw. Are you saving that bottle for future resellers? I think there's a bottle there. You have a bottle?
Where's there a bottle? This is a microphone.
Oh, that's a weird one.
That is
lamp,
a Tiffany lamp.
Yeah. I don't know. Keith wants to know, how did you make this show if you don't make your own show?
Touche, Keith. He's got me there. That's a fair point.
Yes, Biff, I don't care what you name yourself. We know who you are. And Beard is having a chat tonight.
Hey, Biff, last week he didn't make the podcast, but he made his show. So there you go on that one.
Beard's podcast will be uncensored, Biff.
What do you think about
live and uncensored?
What do you think about what Andy's saying? By the time your program gets out, all the markets will be saturated.
No.
You're worried about that?
No. No.
We have Fort Knox says, I'm only here to listen to boring James stick his foot in his mouth again. Well, guess what? You know what? He named his channel Boring Reseller Life, but honestly, if you take a deep dive into James, he's really far from it. He's got a lot going on.
You know what, Fort Knox, James is a friend of mine, and I've got James back all the way through, as I do with all my friends. So it's easy for someone to come on here and criticize people, but James works hard. He's done a lot for the community. He's listening all the time. He has only ever been kind to people. So I've never seen him say anything really, bad or do anything bad or of ill will. So, I don't understand when people come up and they throw these pot shots, and I think it's low class behavior. Like, don't do it, man.
Well, I got to tell you, there's something he's going to be able to do whenever he wants that none of us can say we can do. He can jump in his Porsche, middle of the night, go 100 miles an hour, to get that fix. And guess what? I can't do that. So kudos to him. Beard says, hell yeah, Biff. The drinking will commence shortly. So I guess, Beard, are you locked and loaded with your bottle for your show?
There's a refrigerator over there. It's full. So
Okay. Yep. Rad Relics is with us. Nice to see you, John.
Rad Relics. Nice to see you, John.
John Worldwide Weber giving Jenna some well wishes. We appreciate that.
John.
Yes, it is 11 somewhere. It's 11 o'clock somewhere. It is 11 a.m. like in Thailand or something right now. So Ping G's with us. Nice to see you, Ping. And Samantha. Hi, John, Josh, Beard, and FA viewers. Hello, Jenna. Missing you. She's in the other room watching, I'm sure. Flip of Goods with us. And Beard. Just say it. Why you have to type it out? Maybe John will be confused tonight. What am I confused about, Beard?
I was just answering people's questions in the chat. They asked if I was going on.
David says, hi, guys. Is it going to be worldwide? I've been looking for reliable software for a while. So from what I remember, you said it's not going to launch outside the U.S. initially.
That's right. Yeah. So we're going to push it onto the U.S. site first. Again, like, think about the UK. There are things that they have that are not in the US that you have to put inside the prompts. And I don't want to give it away because it's proprietary, but there are two separate companies, eBay UK and eBay.com. So we have to follow all the rules and regulations and tax laws and everything else and all this other stuff for the UK site. So it will come after the US site releases, which is any day now.
Here's one from Ron. Says, how will we be notified? So how are you going to let people know that it's up and running? I'm sure you're going to come out with a video.
Yeah, I'm going to come out with something, a video or something. But honestly, if you sign up on the site, you just put your email in there. It's going to push out and say, hey, you signed out. Here are your 10 free listings. If you want to sign up for the software and you like it, try it out. And it's going to be that kind of thing heading out.
What do you think about what YouTube Fanatic 8 says? It feels like, I guess he's referring to AI as being overhyped, at least by certain YouTube resellers. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, he's right, I think, a little bit. I mean, there are probably every major influencer has covered it by now. Some of us more than others. And it's a hot thing right now. Like, the game has totally changed. Like, absolutely everything has changed. If you've used the software, you get it. If you haven't used the software, you're going to be like, I'm sick of this. But it's totally changed the game. Now everything is different. And I think a lot of people are talking about that. I know, like, James talks about it a lot, but I can see it. His whole life has changed. He's, everything has changed. So that's why I think a lot of people are talking about it. But I get it that if you don't want to use the software, you're like, I'm getting sick and tired of hearing about this.
Yep.
And for the record, I'm not watching any more James videos until I get the software because I'm mad at James.
I would rather watch a Bigfoot video than any kind of AI lister video. And that's saying something. So here's a concern I've never really talked about, but Rad Relics is kind of on it. AI is advancing at a crazy rate. So your program right now might be top of the line, right? Once we get it. But in a year from now, things are advancing so much with AI that I just wonder, unless you guys are on top of like updates and stuff like throughout, AI is going to pass a lot of things by. It's really advancing a lot.
We're really lucky that our CTO is at the forefront of all this anyway. So without him, and this is Travis the Brain, none of this would have been possible. So he is like literally the brains behind the operation. And it's true. I mean, John's right. Rad Relics John. Every 3 months in this tech world right now is like 5 years passing in real time. Like the stuff is moving so quickly. You might have even seen it with Grok. Like Grok 3 to Grok 4 is a huge leap. It's a massive jump. So things are moving so quick right now. So you have to be really fast. He's right.
So, and also there's one thing you mentioned over and over is you guys are not sitting back. You mentioned a roadmap. You guys have a plan of where you want to go, what you want to do, things you want to add to it. And this is not, these roadmaps, they're not permanent. You know, you can keep adding steps, and you can, as things change, you can change. But feel confident knowing you're using a product that these guys are thinking ahead. You know, how long, your roadmaps were probably a year out.
There's version 5, and I would say each iteration, like each version, is probably going to take 4 to 6 months. So, but there are things in version 5 that are just not available yet. Those tools don't exist. The technology is not quite there, but we're anticipating that it will be at some point, and then we can implement those measures.
So, John, I really feel like John Worldwide Weber, I feel like your comment is kind of spot on, but I think AI is going to become like the next smartphone. How many people back in 2007, when the first iPhone came out, were like, that's a fad. My flip phone's just fine. Or I don't even need a cell phone. I remember there's people that were still on their landlines that weren't even trying to get a cell phone. And then the next year came out, and the next year came out. And after a while, if you didn't have a cell phone or a smartphone, then you were like looked at as, behind the times. So I'm wondering, the idea that, I don't need AI, let other people do AI. I'm not going to even touch it. I want to stay away from it. I think in the next couple of years, if you're not, I think AI is going to be integrated into everything that we do in life, except for maybe sleep. And if you're not embracing it, I think you're kind of going to be behind the 8 ball. What do you guys think about that?
I think you're right. If you look at what some of the stuff Amazon is working on with AI, where they want you to be able to say, hey, I'm going on a trip to Bermuda in a week with 3 people. Make a list. What are the things I might need? And it's going to make you a shopping list to check off to go things that you might never considered for traveling. And there's going to be your phone. The one thing that I don't like about this iPhone is the assistant is falling behind. You start using Gemini built into an Android phone, and it already can just blast anything with this, do anything you tell it to do on the phone. It's going to be able to keep up with your. It's going to be amazing. Whereas 18 months from now, you're going to wonder, why has this not always been this way?
Getting on to a different topic, Henri Scoss is parts and accessory sellers. This is a good reminder. Mm-hmm. Starting on July 15th, that is on Wednesday. No, Tuesday, it looks like. You're going to have to update your business policies. So you have to offer free returns and 30-day free returns. And you really, one thing I noticed also that people don't talk enough about is you really have to make sure that your parts have that drop down. There's so many sellers that are selling parts without the compatibility drop down.
Automotive, you forgot a word, automotive parts and accessories, and make that clear.
Yes, the eBay Motors parts and accessories. You're going to need to make sure that you have free returns enabled, because eBay has said they're not going to show your listings if you don't have that information updated. And I'm getting about half the items that I'm starting to list lately have been a lot of different auto parts, and I'm going through my older listings and I'm like, wow, I don't have the compatibility in there, even though I'm selling some. But when they put their automobile in as what kind of automobile they have in their garage, I think it's called, your listings won't show up if it's not a compatible listing to their automobile.
And that's important, guys. If you're automobile and you do these compatibility things, you don't have to worry about the returns, because there's going to be a scammer who's going to get you. You can't worry about them. But just regular, normal buyers can buy with such confidence on eBay Motors, because I buy a lot of stuff. I do my own brakes. I do a lot of my own messing around in the car. And so I want to feel with confidence that I can put that truck in with its engine on it and know that I'm getting the right part versus having to send it back, because there's nothing more frustrating than waiting for something and it be wrong.
the flip side is I wonder, what sellers think, eBay Motors sellers, because there's going to be a lot more swap outs, I would imagine. Like you could swap out a $1,500 part where you order it from eBay and then you swap it out with your garbage one with free returns.
And if that happens, I would report the buyer. I learned this kind of by accident, that I had a swap out and I was about to go in and process a 50% return. I was doing a video and accidentally said, "Oh, let's report the buyer first. What could it hurt?" Just to show people that's an option. And what it does is it opens the case. So of course you take your photos, you make a case as to what's happened here. You show your before and after photos. This is what I sent them. This is what they sent me back. And, if you don't have a habit of, habitually getting in there and reporting buyers when they send you a legitimate return, then there's a chance they would not only not give the buyer a refund, but make you whole because you just proved through photos and through your, we talk about how eBay doesn't really consider our tenure, right, so much. But I think sometimes they kind of do. And, how good of a seller have you been over the last, say, 10 years since you've been selling the platform? Have you constantly, deducted 50% from buyer refunds when it wasn't necessary? Have you constantly reported buyers when it wasn't necessary? They do tend to look at these things. And in my case, they not only allowed me to keep my money, which wasn't necessarily the intention. They also told the buyer they weren't getting a refund because of what they did. And I believe their account got shut down because they had a history, it seemed, of doing these things. So
I also would like to know from eBay Motor sellers, how often does it happen that a buyer buys the wrong part, even though you've done everything correctly, compatibility and everything? They jam it in there, they beat it with a hammer, it doesn't fit, and then they just send it back and say it doesn't fit. Like, how often does that happen?
I have sold 9 AC compressors in the last 2 months. I have about 7 or 8 up for sale. So a pretty good sell-through rate. And none of them have, knock on wood, or particle board, whatever the hell this is.
Motors, though. Motors, because no other motors company or parts and accessories for automotive, none of them offer free returns. Like if I were to walk into my local parts source and I'm like, hey, I tried to put this in, I beat the hell out of it, I want a free return, they'd be like, hit the bricks, because I think it happens a lot.
Well, this is eBay's way of trying to get, be on top of the game as compared to, other platform like Craig and Auto Parts, whatever. I don't know. There's probably an extensive list of places you can go online and buy parts, and eBay wants to be up there. That's why they advertise it. That's one of their featured categories is auto parts. So they're constantly advertising eBay Motors as a place to get, parts for their automobile. And I think this is what separates them from a lot of other online places to buy your parts, by offering free returns, And I've got to say, so far, and maybe I've been lucky. So far, I have not received any BS returns with auto parts. It's all been legit. I mean, the 1 or 2 that I've had have been legit. So make sure you guys who are selling, if you have 1 or 2 parts, make sure that those are updated so that you don't have a listing up that's not being seen.
Yeah, drop a comment. Tell us what you think about all this if you're a parts seller, automotive.
Now, William wants to know, what is this supposed to do? I think you're talking about list easier. It's just simply just so those of you who haven't been watching over the last month or so, the idea is that you can take a photo. Now, I'm going to do this real quick, just because I want to show you what eBay has tried to do. And this is what Josh is perfecting. Now, eBay, this is a video that came out like almost 2 years ago. But this is what eBay is doing, or saying that their AI lister can do. and that's the program that they came out with. And I was like excited to talk about it, but they were first. They were first. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for many categories. I think it's only for a few categories, and it's not something that we can take. So the idea is you take a bunch of your photos. So maybe you have 100 items. You take in, I don't know, 4 or 5 photos for each one. So you have like 500 photos, and then you just tell AI, here it is. I have 5 photos per listing. You tell me what it is, create the entire listing, so that 75 to 80% of the work on building a listing is all done. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, eBay's definitely one of the pioneers in this space. And again, I mean, they are, I think, largely relying on their internal databases, which is part, I think, of the problem. Now, I don't know for sure because all their information is proprietary, but I think they rely on internal databases, and there are a lot of errors in the listings in their database. But yeah, certainly eBay is a pioneer, and hats off. They solved the hard problems first before a lot of the tools were available to solve those problems to other programmers. So my hat is off to them.
So we got Spam Banshees with us, flipping from the trailer. Says, how are you guys doing? Classic phase. Looking forward to using it. Great to see you live. So I guess you've been sort of not available to do your own lives. So what's going on with your channel?
I still do my channel. I did a live this week, but we're doing the AI software. We're building the AI software, which means also building the business and everything involved in that. Bringing on clients for the software, running my eBay business, packing, shipping, still going to the US back and forth every single day, doing the YouTube channel. So it's been incredibly busy. Starting a company like this, you can expect 100 emails a day, phone calls, everything else, and your whole day kind of flashes by and you feel like I've been on the phone all day or I've been answering emails all day. So, but I still do the YouTube channel. I mean, I'll come on and talk to my friends. We talk about, stuff we sold and what's working, what's not working. So
yeah, so go over to 2 channels, Josh Galt, just the way it is, Josh Galt Galt. And then, of course, Bearded Picker. Don't forget about him. He's doing a live tonight in about an hour and 15 minutes. So make sure you're there with us. But we're going to kind of hang out for a little while longer. Biff, who I don't care what you name yourself, Biff. If you told me your name was Leroy Jones, if we ever met, I would still call you Biff. Okay, I'm sorry. You're always going to be Biff to me. I'm so paranoid about eBay retaliation. I used to comment under my own actual name at one point, and my mom didn't name me Biff Boffo. Sorry. It's almost like if I met Todd, he would be Larry Todd to me. I would always call him Larry Todd.
Okay, so there's down the list. They're talking about, it says parts and accessories. It doesn't say automotive, folks. If you go and look under the updated return policy, which categories are not required: wheels, tires, tire packages, transmissions, manual complete engines, door panels, big car. This is car part. This is parts and accessories. They are referring to auto. Whether it says it or not, they are talking about auto parts.
I'm selling aftermarket car stereos. I have mirrors. I have alternators. I have air conditioning compressors. I have starters. I have all kinds of things that I'm picking up, and it's all under that umbrella. It's just parts like that. Now, not everyone that's watching is going to be selling parts, but what happens if you come across, let's say like I did, came across a yard sale. The guy was like, dude, I have all these parts in these boxes and I have a shed full of boxes. What will you give me for them? And so we worked it out. I think it was like $350 or $400, whatever, that we ended up settling on. And then guess what? I'm sitting on them because I didn't think about the whole process of the compatibility, and just that kind of turned me off. But there are good profits to be made on auto parts. And you don't have to be an expert to know it, but you need to know that eBay will not show your listing if you don't set it up the way that they want you to set it up on the 15th. So just make sure you guys aren't forgetting that. Let's see. So so being paranoid about retaliation. Paul says Al had some big talk about having lawyers and stuff. I didn't hear that part, but he had a feeling that type of commentary is going to backfire in a situation where he is in negotiations. It never goes well. I got to tell you, if you're on the other end, on the business end of that conversation, and I can't tell you how many times somebody has told me, "Oh, I missed my whatever because of your train was late," when I worked with Amtrak. I'm going to sue you. Well, I've been there 26 years before I left. I have never been, involved in a lawsuit or a deposition, anything like that. So I highly doubt, and I always doubted the validity of that when someone said they were going to take it to the next level. I know people who've tried to bring litigation against eBay, and eBay, I don't think there's lawyers that'll touch a class action against eBay because it's an uphill battle. eBay has so much money and resources that it would be very, very difficult to fight
not only
eBay.
that, but you sign a terms of service, and if you violate the terms of service, you've already validated having your suspension, like on any one of those things. And then on top of that, if you do want to file a lawsuit against any company, not even eBay, there has to be some sort of proof that they're sort of acting with some sort of malice and it's causing you either emotional or financial harm, which would also be difficult to prove, that they're doing it without you having any sort of responsibility. So
Not funny wants to know. Go ahead, Bear.
I watched a video someone doing it on an Amtrak train. It's a huge YouTuber out of England, and he took the train from New York City to Miami, 29 hours, 30 hours. And
Silver Meteor.
Same thing I've heard about all Amtrak is, other than the fact that trains are just slow because they have a lot of stops, people were amazing. Food was amazing. He absolutely loved the trip. So, and I've seen others take it before too. So, Amtrak does, I think for the most part, they're one of the better government agencies.
Well, they're subsidized by the government. They're created by the government, and they've tried to be on their own. But no railroad in history has ever been self-sufficient. That's the fact. Let's see. Now, not funny. What is preventing eBay from creating its own AI listing tool? As I showed you, that was eBay's listing tool. It looked great. Looked like it looked perfect. But wouldn't it surprise you to know that was a video from a year and a half ago, and I don't know of anybody who's had a lot of success with that tool. You guys hear of anyone who has had success with eBay's photo lister?
I know of people using it, but again, I think they're reliant on their own database, and I don't think their database was originally structured for AI. Like a lot of eBay's technology is decades old, so there's like a lot of things that have to be done to optimize that database so that it works for AI. That's number one. Number two, if they wanted to use the external AIs like the LLMs, they're going to have to charge a user for it, and it's going to be really expensive. So even if eBay were to roll it out and rely on external AIs, you're going to be paying a lot of money for it per listing. So I think those are two things that are kind of holding things back a little bit.
I mean, just think about the listings and how many times you catch yourself, you're making mistakes, and just multiply that times all the listings on eBay. And then now you've got a program that's pulling from that database. It's the accuracy would bother me.
And eBay's a tough problem to solve. Like, I'm not going to come on here and say that eBay doesn't know what they're doing or anything else. They've got billions of listings. They have all these integrations, all these APIs, all these items, fraud they got to deal with. All we have to do is focus in on AI and make it as optimized and as good as possible. That's our only job. We don't have to deal with any of the other things that eBay has to deal with. So it's like this huge cruise ship that's 30 years old and has to have all its repairs and all its innovations done while it's sailing through the water. Somebody from eBay said a long time ago, it's like trying to change a tire while the car's driving on the road. So it's a lot of work for them. That's all we have to do is worry about AI listings. It's like such a small little sliver of what eBay actually is. So if we focus on that and make it super awesome and optimized, it's a whole different ballgame.
So if it's an old cruise ship, y'all are just working on the pineapple for the doors on the rooms.
That's it.
Test Cooks for You had to deal with a heartbreaking $800 return this week. First time in 26 years that eBay has disappointed us and how they handled the issue. Still not over, but disappointing. It's going to sting, but if you're in this business for the long haul, it's people are going to be mad at me for saying this, but it has to be said. It's the cost of doing business, right? You have to absorb that and just move on. Don't let it bring you down and keep you from staying motivated to keep getting out there and getting stuff and listing.
I had a $4,500 return when I first kind of started full time, and that was almost it. I was like, you know what? I've had enough of this. This is brutal. But yeah, things like that. Like, that's a big number. That sucks.
Andy, how do you buy a pair of Nike runners and 4 cucumbers at a garage sale?
Have you never been to a country yard sale that also has like a farm stand or something? That happens.
Like a farmer's market.
Yeah, that happens around here. You go out to a farmer or somebody's having a yard sale, but they've got some, they want to sell their vegetables too. It happens.
I guess. Primo, this Primo Chemo. Josh is sporting that Kutan. Makes you other guys look extra Caspery. Love you all. I had wine. I could tell, but I think that's not a tan. That's just a lack of light.
I am dark and tanned, but John, you golf. You're in Vegas. How are you? Do you tan?
It's all lighting. That's why you're so dark, and I'm not. I have good lighting.
Man, I will change the lighting. I get darker and darker and darker and darker. I'm certainly darker than you. We'll see in Vegas. We'll compare.
I haven't played golf in now 2 weeks. I'm jonesing to get out. It's just so hot, and out here in Vegas, if I had made a trip to California, I'm there. I'm golfing, but out in Vegas, it's like, man, 7 a.m. It's 100 degrees already. Do I really want to put myself through that? I'm not getting any younger. And I don't want to come home dead to the world where I can't get stuff done. So, and how if you have a tan, are you even a reseller? That's the question that Biff has.
This is the only way I can tan. Look how dark I am. Look how dark I am.
Yeah, Spam says that she feels that Big Al shouldn't have aired that. I think sometimes it's easy to feel like, you know what, I want to be transparent and I want to show everyone everything, but sometimes you just can't. You can't say everything that you'd like to say or show everything you'd like to show because it can come back on you. We got Mylene, I think that is the name. This is a question. I notice you don't specify where do you source in your video. You concerned that other resellers will go to the same place you go to. Absolutely 100%. If you are a fisherman and you go to a lake, everyone goes to this lake. They're in boats. They're, by the creek. They're everywhere. But that one spot where you catch all those fish, are you going to put a blog about it? Because next time you show up, you're probably not even going to have a place to throw your line out. For me, it's kind of like that. I will tell you in general what I do. May or may not work for you, but it works 100% for me. And we have 3 million people in this city in Las Vegas, almost 3 million. I ain't trying to get another 1 to 10 to 20 to 100 people trying to do what I do in the same places that I do it, because it's going to make it much more difficult for me to do what I do. And so
I know what he does, and I can be bought.
That's right. He can be bought. Yes. But really, I mean, doesn't it make sense? I mean, I'm an eBay first YouTuber, so meaning that if I had to choose between one or the other, I'm shutting off the YouTube. Sorry, but I have to. My bread and butter is from reselling. It always will be, and so because of that, I have to protect certain things. That's not going to mean I'm going to not tell you guys, what I do, but to tell you where I do it, when I do it, how I do it would be detrimental to my bottom line. So I just hope you guys understand that.
I source solely through a dealer network. So I think that you'd have to do the heavy lifting of getting into that dealer network to really, purchase anything of consequence. But I would actually welcome more people in that category. I'd love to be running into people more. I tell people all the time that I go to Aberfoyle on Sundays. So I'm always hoping to run into someone there and be like, hey, you're Josh. It's good to see you.
You want, you need gifts, goods, and books. It's good to see the temporary new look FAE podcast. So this is when we have guests on. This is kind of the way it's going to be. We're using StreamYard. Hope you're well. We are. Curious what is Easy Lister and how it's different. Huh?
Josh, that's the weirdest thing. For an introvert, for people to know who you are, that's the weirdest thing, by the way. For people to come up and know me, and I've got to talk to somebody now. Don't get me wrong. I've gotten used to it, and I appreciate everybody who says hello. But
I tried to challenge you, and when you went to Tennessee, to get out there and start talking.
It took me years to get comfortable with that.
You would be exhausted with me because I just move through and I'll talk to everybody and shake hands with everyone. And
I've been with Harlan. I know how it is. You come to Huntsville. Harlan knows 90% of the people in Huntsville. It's amazing. You walk. Harlan doesn't go anywhere he doesn't know someone.
Yeah, I want to hear people's stories. Like, try and remember their name when I first meet them. I like it. So I'll exhaust you one time when we go to some sort of eBay meeting or something.
Well, we're going to one next month, so
there you go.
Hang out. I'm sure you'll get your fill of me for 2 or 3 days. John Worldwide Weber says, I think you three are straight up good people. Well, thank you very much, John. Keith says, my advice to anyone wanting to use of AI listing software is Josh is one guy I haven't learned to trust. I'm sure as much as everyone wants it, he won't release it till it's ready. So I think I have learned to trust. Okay, yeah. So
I don't. Freudian slip right there.
It's just bad reading. I'm just trying to read fast. Travis in Dallas says, I tried the other one and it was more hassle than helpful. I kind of heard that, but everyone's got to find out for themselves if any of these tools is going to be worth their time. Beard says, we will be fat and extra happy. Good times.
That was for Primo right above him, where he said about tanning with the listing tool.
Yes. Here's one from Logic Z. Josh, careful thinking you're untouchable at 6 to 7 cents a listing. From experience, all it takes is one senior dev with deep pockets who can withstand monetary loss for 2 to 3 years and releases a free product.
Yeah, definitely. Logic Z has a point. So for sure, there could be companies coming out and they're like, we'll just eat a loss on this and we have other plans. I am by no means am I thinking that we're untouchable or anything like that. But we are in this for the long haul. So we do have a roadmap of things that we want to do. I don't think that we are the latest and the greatest and no one knows what we're doing, but I will say that we have the best people working on this. For sure, more is coming. There will be competition. I'm 100% sure. But what can you do? You can only worry about the things that you're working on, and that's it.
Keep updating it. I'm sure you guys already know this is part of your business model, but keep, even if it comes out and you feel like, wow, this is perfect, keep trying to perfect it. So
you have to
staying on top of things.
You have to.
Designs Laura says, question for Josh: will there possibly be another level somewhere between the 10 free and the 1,000 per month? I need more than 10, but nowhere near the 1,000 listings.
Yeah, we're working on that. So that's a discussion that we've had. Designs Laura. That's probably the number one comment I get is, can you make a cheaper plan? And we've kind of sat down and brainstormed and taken everyone's feedback. And I think we'll create something between 0 and 1,000 a month as far as the number of listings is concerned.
Samantha has a question. What makes lists easy? What am I keying the important aspects of my listing and it can fan out the key points and list for me?
Yeah, so the software will fill in all your item specifics for you. It'll do the title, it'll do the description as long as you provide the photo. And it will do it much more accurately than what you can do it yourself. On top of that, as opposed to just doing it one by one as we list, it can do hundreds at a time or conceivably thousands at a time. So the most that we've ever listed in a day, one person was 14,000 items. So really what you're doing is something that we are capable of, Samantha, for sure. I can do a listing, I can do it accurately, and I can do it really well. And it's going to take me about between 5 and 7 minutes. The AI software can do hundreds of those in that same time period. So it's taking all that time that you would take to do those listings on your own, and it's doing all the data entry for you. So you don't have to do it. You can do other things with your life. Go visit grandma, play with the grandkids, go on vacation, spend the day fishing. And this has been my summer so far. I'm dark because I've been golfing a lot, because I only do my listings now. I do 250 listings a day about right now, and it takes me an hour. And the rest of the day, I do the things that I want to do. So that's kind of where the software is really having its advantage. And if it's cheap and efficient and does what it's supposed to do, we're laughing.
So I wear the goat shirt, and guess who shows up?
The Goat Pete.
The goat himself, Craigslist Hunter. And I knew it. That was going to get him here. So nice to see you, buddy.
Good to see you, Pete.
Going on with you. Going good with you. Let's see.
So, and everybody says good people. I see this every time I see Pete come up. Pete is the OG good person. I've never met anyone who is worth their stripes ever say a bad thing about Pete. He's good to everyone. Everyone can take a lesson from Pete on how to operate a business and how to work with people. He's very generous, kind with his time. I'll never have a bad thing to say about him.
No.
Incredible person.
If you watch his videos, you might say, yeah, he's just putting on an act for the camera. But you meet the guy, and it's like, yeah, this is the guy I saw in the video. This guy is every bit of the person he projects himself out to be on the video. So,
well, I saw that.
You won't find that all the time on YouTube. I mean, you won't find people who are the same. You get people who are out and about, and you go up to them, and they're like, "I'm working. You need to leave me alone." That's
rude.
Like,
yeah,
it's horrible.
Pete, but did you see Pete on the cruise when they had that boat cruise thing? He was shaking everyone's hand. He was meeting people. People are standing on their own. He's going up to them and he's talking to them. Which honestly, for everyone, that's not that easy to do all the time. Like, he's doing it for people. That's really amazing. That's something else. So
yeah, I mean, we had hundreds of people on that cruise, and he spent a good solid 30 minutes just talking to me. He didn't have to. He could have said, "Look, there's other people here," but I'm sure he had from the time he got on that boat to the time he got off, I'm sure he had spent time with other people, and unlike me, I'm sitting in the corner of the boat. I should have got up and walked around and introduced myself. Lesson learned for next time.
There are a lot of content creators that if you meet them in real life, you're like, this is a rude, bad person. They play very nice on TV, but when you meet them in real life, you're like, this person is brutal. This is the bad person. Pete's not one of those.
And we have Dave. He's restocked his fridge and he's locked and loaded for tonight. See, I'm not worried about your drinking there, Dave. I'm worried about the other thing that you do. But let's see here. We got, Silicone Shadows. Silicone. He's coming out with a new song. It's a part 2 of Silicon Shadows. It's Silicone Shadows. I'll leave it there. Here's a question. The $1,000 a month plan, if you don't use $1,000, does it carry over?
No. So for you, Classic Phase, probably, we're going to come out with a lower plan as well, and that might work out best for you. So
the goat wants to know, will it work for lawnmower parts? Use lawnmower parts.
Yeah, it works for everything. Now,
is there anything that you can kind of consider that it won't work for?
Really, it depends on the quality of the photos. So a lot of times we get people saying, well, what if I took a really far away picture of a ring? Would it be able to tell me that it was platinum or 14 karat gold or whatever? So if you take one picture of a ring from really far away and you don't have the stamps or the purity or anything, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be very difficult for it to tell you the exact clarity of a diamond. If you showed a diamond, it could say that diamond has inclusions, but the exact carat, the exact clarity, that would be a little bit more difficult. But the more information you give it, the better it is. But I will say this. If Beard showed me a picture of a ring from 40 yards away, I wouldn't be able to tell you if it was 14 karat gold or 18 karat gold either. So there, exactly. Like, I don't know, 18 karat gold. I really don't know.
Looks like an Auburn ring.
Yeah.
Am I right? So, Big Trey
says, Dave, somebody's coming back tonight. That's a lie.
That comment? Come on. Big Dre says Prime Day sales plummeted by 41% despite, and I can't confirm that, but despite expanding it to 4 days, we haven't even begun to feel the effects of tariffs. Consumers can't afford higher prices and choosing not to spend. Demand is down. What do you guys think about demand? Are you seeing that on your stores?
I'm slow, but I'm always slow. And so I don't know. I mean,
Since I've back to dedicating myself to listing, I'm only up like 67% in the last 31 days.
Craig, what's coming out is a not well, it's a web-based version, but as far as like an app or a mobile version, that's coming down the pipe.
On the roadmap too. Yeah.
Yeah, I may have misread what you said, John. But I apologize if I did. It's a challenge to keep up with the conversation and the chat, so I apologize. James Helferstay says, I was happy to have been asked to stay on as a beta tester to always try the new options before launch. I now get to add Tech Breaker to my resume. There you go. If anyone was going to do it, it's going to be James with all the stuff that he has. I think it's like to ask anyone else would have not have been optimal to do. Hustle Man Jonathan says, like how people are holding on to the auxiliary cord. Mandy says, can't you hold 50% of the return then? I've even called and reported for fraud instead of the 50%. So once you report a buyer, it opens a case. When there's a case open and you have an outstanding return, that case now supersedes the return and you can't do anything with it. In fact, even if you change your mind, say, you know what, I'm just going to give them the 50%, it's in eBay's hands at that point. You are not going to be able to refund anything. You can even go into the drop-down menu from the item outside of the return case, and it still won't let you refund them because it's going to tell you that there's an open case. So cases always supersede anything like an item not received report or case. If you open a case against the buyer, it wipes out all your options to take care of the buyer. Backyard Mowing says, auto is hard. Got a $220 distributor back today. Wouldn't fit the buyer's car. Yeah, you get returns, right? And I think if you have that compatibility drop down, then eBay is going to tell them, if they have the right automobile in there, eBay is going to tell them, look, this isn't going to fit your car. Because I've tried to do that. I don't even know what the hell I have in there right now. I have some automobile in there, just testing the tool and seeing how it works. And it won't let you even see something that's not compatible. So it's up to each seller to make sure that we have the drop-down compatibility with the compatible cars. The problem is there's some parts that work for 5 or 6 different makes, models, and many years. And then once you get in there, there's like some cars have a 1.8 liter, 2.0 liter, 2.4 liter, and the part may only be for a 1.8 liter. But if you're selecting every car from that model, make, and year, then you run the risk of that being incorrect and then having the return. So
also, I think on mobile, on the app, I don't think a lot of consumers look at everything. Like, how many times have you sold an auto part or listed an auto part and they ask you this like ridiculous question? You're like selling, for example, I was selling a lock for a compartment door for a Volkswagen bus from like the 1960s. And someone reached out and was like, will this fit a 1987 Mustang?
Hutch says, hope you're all doing well. Josh, do you not think the forward-thinking resellers will have their own agent on?
Like develop their own product, their own AI?
I'm not sure what he means.
If they're, well, I mean, you can develop, if you do postcards, let's say, you could develop your own AI agent. Not everyone knows how to do that. In many cases, your AI agent will be as expensive as ours. So then is it worth it? Remember, you have to also pay for the data flow. So if you're listing lots of items, you've got to pay for that LLM data flow, and you've got to build it yourself and maintain it and everything else. So certainly possible. Other people have done it. I just think 99% of the people don't know how to build the tool. And that last 1%, now you've got to build the tool and you've got to build it cheaper than what we are doing it for in order for it to be worth it.
Yeah, Honored Squad says I copy and pasted directly from eBay and the word motors was not there, just parts and accessories. But that's what they mean. It is when I did the video about 2 weeks ago, or maybe 3 weeks ago, I was talking about the update, the July seller update, and it certainly is for parts and accessories for automobiles, which all falls under eBay Motors. May or may not have said the word motors in there, but that's what it is about.
So you think they didn't put eBay Motors in there because they're going to roll it to different categories as well?
You know what? It wouldn't surprise me if they, in 5 years, we're all doing free returns, and there's maybe some kind of drop down that they have to the buyer has to complete to show compatibility.
The Amazon, is free returns on everything.
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain things you can't return. Like there's some food and some health and beauty things you can't. There's certain things on the platform that you can't return because they're just consumables or whatever. But for the most part, 99% of the stuff you can return.
And then Spam says we've had 1 or 2 returns on our vintage auto parts. We already offer free returns and do not have any issues with buyers taking advantage of the return policy. The benevolent dictator says, can you explain the return process and what it means to report the buyer? This feels awkward as I have sold on eBay for 1.5 years and I haven't had any returns. I did issue 1 refund. So you have a couple options as a seller. When you receive a return that has, let's say someone has they've kept your item and they've swapped it out with their own. That happens a lot, right? So you can go in and do the 50% return, eat the fact that you're not getting your full price. You're probably covering your costs and maybe a little bit more by doing that. But then, of course, the buyer keeps your item. They get partial refund, and that kind of doesn't seem fair. The other way you can go about doing it is there's a drop down somewhere around the return when you go into the return screen, and it'll say report buyer. You can click on that and then add any photos to support what you're trying to say, along with like 400 or 500 characters to tell eBay what's going on, what the problem is, and then they take it. There's a backroom team that'll look at something for 72 hours or whatever, and then they'll determine if they're going to allow you to keep your money based on what's going on. Sometimes they'll cover the refund for the buyer, and sometimes they'll just tell you, sorry, you're out of luck. You need to refund the buyer on your behalf. So you've got to be very careful when using that, and don't use it every time you get. Sometimes it's best to use the 50%. Let's say they forget to return some accessories. Just use the 50% refund and move on and try to resell it for what you can. Samantha likes your content, Beard. James says, I'm trying body parts on AI tonight. Now I just some friends to come over and help. How about this? What if I get a chicken nugget that looks like Mary or something?
Where are you going with that, John?
Well,
you
AI
saw that. I was worried you were going to have a stroke.
My lives, every live I'm on, it look like I'm having a stroke. So it's a normal life. No, I'm saying, how people sell
Cheetos,
off the wall things, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure AI doesn't even know where the hell you're trying to go with off the wall things.
I think you started and then your mind went to a dirty place and then you stalled out. That I saw the whole thing happen.
Will it do ketchup packets from Del Taco?
Oh, there you go.
Logic D says, James, I could donate a finger or 2 on your mission. Just let me know. Yes, and then James says, Josh will be a billionaire when eBay buys list easier. You think is there any possibility that eBay just ditches their project and says, we're going to just buy list easier?
No, well, right now there's nothing to buy. They're going to be watching everyone's APIs, but that is not our goal at all. Like, I don't want this to end. We don't want this to end. We're having a lot of fun building this, and that our mission focus is just like make it really awesome for the customer, available, cheap, fast, all that other stuff. And there's no like, hey, let's get rich, let's sell it, let's be billionaires. That's not even on the radar. It's just build this thing out and make it super awesome. This is a chance to really build something super cool at the start of the technology, and that's what we all want to do. We had this discussion right when we started. We're like, this is not a get rich quick scheme. We're not out here to soak people. Let's build something awesome. Like, let's do this for 10, 20 years. Let's build something amazing.
Yeah. And then John the Automator says, and all they need to do is close the API when they get theirs up and running correctly.
Yeah, they can do that. eBay can do that, and that's why we go through the audits, because if you don't go through those audits, they can just shut it down anyway.
So we got Grams and Pops. Corey's with us. Nice to see you. What kind of nonsense are we up to tonight? Let's see. It says John says he'll tell you the spot if you join the Patreon. I will. You know what? We do have a membership program, so that like twice a month. Try to do twice a month, and we do add some other content. But twice a month we have a reseller roundtable live stream where we go in and critique either our own stores or other stores that we come across, and talk about best practices, that kind of thing. But you'll never hear me say, for $29.95, join my Patreon and I'll tell you where to go and find the bolos. That ain't this channel. That's for sure. Renee F says, you may have covered this, but have you guys been painfully slow this week? How about you guys?
For me.
How's your sales?
All of June has been slow for me.
Beard?
I'm up 67.9 over last month, so I'm good.
So for us, I don't know if you can see it. I'll try to hide the comment. It's difficult to see because it's a smaller screen. But I'm up 4.6% over the last 31 days, at 379 today. Last night, 821. This is our main account. Last 31 days, 12,700 in sales. And last 90 days, 36,219. So the average is about around 12,000. Anything over that is a little bit above average. And we're bringing up the size of the store. That's the goal. And we're getting some sales. I've got a return. I guess there's a package that came today. So
I'm up 43. I'm up 43% year over year, but I'm down 30% over last month, over May. So June is down 30% from May, but I'm up 43% year over year.
James says, I could tell where I source because most people are afraid to work, so I'm always up for a work-off challenge. You know what? I don't want the extra barrier. I'm already dealing with, in Q4, liquidation tends to be a little tougher. More people are on it, willing to spend more than I am. And therefore, I had a plan, and I have plenty of inventory in my storage unit for this Q4 to offset that. So we'll see how that goes. Samantha says, John, when you go to the meeting soon, do a great job. I'm counting on you. Oh, the eBay Open? Of course. If they let me in. I paid my money, but let's see if they let me in. I have to dress up as Josh or something to try to get in there. Also, we're having a meetup. Mike Mecco Meetups. He's the channel that coordinates all the meetups around the country. He says he finalized the details for our meetup in August after the eBay Open. The sign-up form for this free event can be found on the Mike Metco Meetups Facebook page. So if you're going to be in the Vegas area for the 12th or the 14th or going to eBay Open, you don't have to be going to eBay Open to be a part of this. But we'd like to have you. Of course, we're going to meet up for dinner. It's out of your pocket for dinner. We're not paying for it all, but we are putting it together, putting the venue together so that we can all be together and hang out. We're going to do dinner somewhere. I don't have the details yet, but we'll be talking about it at some point. It's going to be on the 15th. That's on Friday, the 15th of August. And then we're also doing an event, getting together, doing some thrifting and stuff like that in the Vegas Valley, if you're going to be with us there as well. So go to Mike Mecco Meetups Facebook page for more details. Grams and Pops. Corey says, Josh, I'm liking what I see with the AI app, but I don't like the bump in price for multi-store access. Damn you for wanting being paid for your work. So what's the deal with that? So your program doesn't yet support multiple stores?
It does, yeah.
It
So
does?
he's speaking tongue in cheek, Corey,
Okay.
joking around. But the top tier supports multiple stores. So the idea behind that is, as people grow their stores, and we've seen this with our beta testing, they'll get to their 60 or 75,000 allotment on their anchor store, and then they'll want to start another store. And then they'll get to their allotment, and they might want to start a third store, which is kind of the actual max that you can start on eBay, because they start sending out forms for you to fill out, and they want to know why you're opening more than 3 stores or more than 2 stores. But in that 3 stores, we support all 3 stores. So if you want to list on your first store one day and then your other store the next day or whatever, you can do that in the top tier. So if you're a volume seller and you have like 200,000 items, it's a super useful tool.
Logic Z says, for you, Josh, question, what OCR are you using, or if you're willing to divulge? Understandable, not if not, just curious. What is an OCR?
Yeah, so I actually don't know what an OCR is because I'm not a programmer, but it sounds like a question that would be proprietary info. So okay. I don't know. I'm not a programmer. I don't know the answer to that.
What's the error ratio? Asks Samantha. I have I have to check for accuracy.
Yeah, it's 0.3%.
And Big Dre is mentioning that so does City Flips. I saw his video today. He quit full-time reselling and is looking for a job. That's the unfortunate part of things with reselling. It's, we had that situation a good solid, 2 years ago, where we were like, we're just not doing it right, or something's not right. We're not getting sales. We had to drive for months, doing the whole driving gig for Uber Eats and DoorDash and all that. And it was pretty scary for a while until we fixed our problem. I am a big believer that there's almost always an answer to your reselling problem. And maybe you don't like the solution, but there's almost always an answer to your reselling problem. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, go ahead, Beard.
No, I agree. Most people aren't willing. The thing that I found out, and it's true in my life too, is most people are not willing to. They give themselves the benefit of that way too much, and are not willing to look in internally to figure out what they need to change within themselves and in their business. They blame it on every outside factors and ignore the biggest contributor to your business. So that's what I've found.
I would say that everyone's situation is different. So you see there are people that are reselling that are on fixed income and they have a pension coming in, their mortgage is paid off, and it's just 2 of them at home. That's a totally different story than someone who's just bought a house, has 3 kids, all those other things. So, it's situation dependent, I think, as far as that's concerned. So I know Shane has kids, or Soda City Flips. He has kids, and it's hard, man. It's hard. It's really difficult. I was there. Every day was a battle and just like kind of barely getting through. And at the worst times you have these like sales droughts and you're like, man, I don't know if I can keep this up because you have responsibilities, kids and everything else. So
Brando wants to know, does the program go by your total in your store, or can you have 700 listings in your store and use it for 500 or less in the lower plan?
Yeah, Brando, you can list as many as you want. You can list 500 all at once if you want to. It's up to you.
What's your take on the idea, though, that eBay, let's say you have 200 in your store and you're like, okay, I've got stuff. I just haven't wanted to list. Now, heck, I'm excited about listing, and you get out there and you list in 500 to 1,000. So you've taken your store from 200 to 1,000, 1,200. Do you think eBay would then maybe come down on you for having, grown too fast?
Yep. Yeah, it's a huge risk. If you are only listing 1 or 2 items a day, and then you start listing 300 a day for the next month, you're putting your account at risk. So this is a really good point, and people have to be aware of this, that you can't just go gangbusters all of a sudden. You want to kind of grow your store at least at some sort of reasonable pace. This seems to get a lot of people in trouble where they're hardly doing anything, and then all of a sudden they put in a ton of computers or a ton of books or whatever, and then eBay says, we want to see the receipts. We want to see that what you're doing is safe for the marketplace. So absolutely, scale into this. Don't take the program. If you're only listing 1 or 2 items a day, don't go over a next week period and list 10,000 items. You're like, man, I'll make $250,000 in like 2 months.
Yeah.
Slow down, be responsible, grow a little bit responsibly.
Yeah. So Emil saying the concern is that, okay, now eBay's asking you for invoices. Maybe you got all this stuff at a yard sale, or you clear out storage lockers or whatever. And
Just
So now
remember,
what?
Emil, that we work directly with the eBay development team or the eBay development program. So we are like fully vetted, audited, everything else. So there is no concern on that end. But, and I mean, you can increase your listings. People do it all the time. You can increase it from 5 to 20, and then the next month 30, and then 50, and then 70, whatever you want to do. But don't go out there and list. I mean, we got to have some common sense here. Don't go having never listed for 3 months and then all of a sudden on one day list 3,000 and then on the next day list 5,000. That's putting yourself at risk. Any business is like that.
Andy says, question, if you open a case with the buyer, does it affect your metrics? No, it doesn't. It doesn't affect your metrics. If you allow a case like an item not received or a return case to lapse beyond the date that they give you, maybe you forgot about it, you just put it aside, and now the buyer is open, a case is being opened, then eBay, when they step in, they can give you a ding for a case being opened due to the seller not resolving the problem. So make sure that you are always handling your return case. So many people say, you know what, eBay is not fair because someone opened a return and they refunded the buyer and I didn't even get my item back. Well, you know why that happened? That's because you didn't act in time by the date given to process that return or to approve it. Here's one. Samantha, Josh, and John and Beard, if possible, can you name your eBay store? Mine's Value Trends with a Z. What about, and I bet you guys can guess Beard's, but Josh?
If you can't figure out mine, you have no business reselling.
It's
mine is
WHS
Stereo View. WHS Stereo View.
Big Dre says, I know a Cheeto that looked like a Charizard sold pretty high not too long ago, but AI wouldn't be able to recognize that, right? It's all subjective.
You'd be surprised.
Really?
I saw it. Yeah. I mean, James was doing photos. You would be surprised what it was pulling from those photos that he listed. I was like, oh my God, that is incredible. So it's surprising how accurate it is, especially as the AIs improve.
So Benevolent says, when you mention the 50% off return, do they have to send the item back before making a refund, or is this something you do when you don't get the item? I'm still slightly confused. Rule number one, with eBay, you are entitled to get your item back before processing any kind of refund for the buyer. So never, never, never refund anything to the buyer unless you feel like you've made a mistake, then you work something out with the buyer. But if you're waiting for an item to come back from a buyer, they open a return, you wait for that item to arrive. Once it arrives, you have the right to inspect it. You open it up, make sure that all the packaging is there, all the accessories that came with it are there. It's the same item and or the same condition. And if it's not, you can't check off all those boxes, then you can deduct up to 50% on the refund. Now, eBay wants you to follow some guidelines, but the problem is if you deduct any amount up to 50% on that refund, you won't get your fees back. So eBay expects you to give them a full refund if you want your fees, your selling fees back. So my point is, that's why I don't talk about any lower amounts. If it's egregious enough, I will charge them 50%. Yeah, I'm not getting my fees back, but I'll get a little bit more back, because if that makes sense. If it's not all that egregious, it's just like, they're missing something here, but I can still sell it for a decent amount, then I'll just give them a full refund. That way I get my fees back and eBay doesn't think I'm using that tool too much, because you can potentially use the tool too much. And then now you're under scrutiny because you're using it way too often. Dave's up 93% on Amazon. That's impressive. It's maybe the songs that you're making are giving you motivation. Ron says, sorry, Josh, having started in agriculture software, I thought was we will never sell it. But when John Deere came up and the check was large enough, we walked away a lot wealthier.
Good for you, Ron. Good for you. Congratulations. That's awesome.
It is awesome.
Good for you. Yeah. I love hearing stories from our community like that. That's awesome. That's really awesome.
Keith says, Josh, it's a pleasure to see you on the FA Live. Thanks for giving up your time for this live. Scott, it's better to hear you than read your comments for a change. Here's a question for Jovial Juggler. A buyer A fellow reseller returned an item by USPS without going through eBay. Now what do I do? He paid full retail for the shipping label. Any thoughts on why an eBay reseller would do this? What are your thoughts, Beard? Do you have any thoughts on that?
It happens, and I don't understand why a reseller would do it. Because there's no advantage you lose doing that, unless they're just trying to be kind and not mess with your return metrics, which nobody's that kind.
Yeah, hit the like, guys. Tonight's information is hot. Yes, please do hit that like button. Get your sale within the next 24 hours. I don't know how or why it works, but it does. Our biggest beneficiary is Todd, who can make a case for that being true.
Didn't you steal that from someone that hit the like button thing and you get a sale?
Do you really think I stole it, or did someone steal it from me? We all know the answer to that. Benevolent says that's the right attitude, John. There is a solution to every problem, and when we take responsibility for our stores, what we are doing, and when we stay humble and make some adjustments, we can do better. Yes, I agree with that. Glenn says, had a great yard sale today. Vintage boombox, strawberry shortcake collection, a couple of sealed Game Boy Advance with games, and more just in my neighborhood. Consistency is the key. I think of all that, which is good, you got a lot of good stuff. The last thing you said is probably the most important for everyone to follow, and that's consistency. I don't care that eBay has come out like in the last year or two and said, look, you don't have to list every day, but if you put that on your daily to-do list, I promise you things are going to get more consistent for you. What's your take on that, being consistent?
It definitely works, because I had lost that as I was been doing other things, and immediately when I get back to listing every day, it's amazing the sales come back with it.
Yeah, I agree. It's like the gym. Like if you go every single day for an hour, you'll see better results than if you go 8 hours for a week and then never go again.
James says, the first 3 days I started listing more, I had to click to make sure I was human. Then it went away. The most hurt will be, and this is the biggest problem with upping your number of items, when the seller's not prepared and they have issues shipping and such. So now you've got a lot of items up. Are you prepared to handle the volume of things that have sold? It's a big concern, right?
And people have said that to me. That's another thing that I get all the time is why, you're going to sell more items, more money, more problems is one thing, but that's why we're all in business, is to earn more money. That's the point of a business, unless you're running a hobby. And then the shipping more things, yeah, you're going to have to. I mean, it doesn't do it for you. You got to take more photos. You got to buy more stuff. You got to ship more stuff, but that's part of growing,
So I think that comment right there is for you, Josh. Did you know a large percentage of women melt when a handsome man wears pink? Just saying. Samantha says eBay should not be compressing our growth. Our success is theirs if it's real. But they have a real concern, though, that there are some people who pop out of the woodwork with every intention on scamming somebody. So it's those people who've created this problem. We used to say, when I worked at the call center, that the employees created the policies, not the company. And I say that because it's the employee behavior that was never thought up about, the company never thought this employee would do X, Y, and Z. They do X, Y, and Z, and now they have to create a policy to curtail X, Y, and Z from happening again. So that's what eBay is. It's more reactionary than visionary. So when they see, oh, this person's doing this, and it's never happened before, this probably many years ago, now they have to come up with policies and procedures to make us all have to look like we're guilty before we prove ourselves.
Unfortunately, John, that's the way of the world today, and Amazon does the same thing. They throttle you because the problem is these platforms get burned and they get hold of the bag a lot of times, because these sellers will come in, sell a bunch of stuff, never ship it, and sometimes have access to the money. They've done a better job recently with making that where they're not exposed anymore. But unfortunately, that also means that experienced sellers like a Primo have to wait a little while, because that huge sale that was through no fault of his own, he's just caught up in something that the platform is trying to protect the platform, and also in that case trying to protect the seller as well, whether you want to see it that way or not.
Well, think about if tomorrow I listed 500 cordless Hilti drills, eBay'd be like, where did you get these? This is like $250,000 worth of product. Like, what's going on? You just all of a sudden found this? Like, so I think that those growth kind of inhibitors are there for that too. They want to keep it safe. I don't think eBay wants to see stolen merchandise on their platform,
You're right.
and that kind of stuff. So they want to keep it safe for everybody.
Well, then you've also got other people too. Look at the story of what's her name on Whatnot. She was selling things that she didn't have, counting on the fact that she could go to the store and buy these Disney, but they're out of stock or that item was out, and so ended up getting banned from another platform. And there's all kind of shenanigans that go on.
Yeah.
Right. And how many stories have you seen over the years where someone stole like a bunch of Legos or someone stole a bunch of power tools and they were selling them on eBay, right? From that, it's understandable how eBay would be concerned about, getting invoices when they see unusual patterns and stuff like that. So it's those, like I said, it's those people who are creating the policies that we are now all having to deal with. Here's one that I thought was pretty important for you guys. Thrifting in Tennessee. Does anybody else shipping tomorrow before USPS raises their prices Sunday? So there is a price increase on USPS. I believe that sounds right. Sunday would be the cutoff. So if you have, like what we do is we treat Friday sales, Saturday sales, and Sunday sales. Oops, there's a fly in here. All together, and we ship them on Monday morning. Well, to save a few bucks, you might want to consider shipping all your stuff that you have accumulated your sales on Friday and Saturday on Saturday, because even like, for instance, we do calculated. So we calculate $5 for shipping label. If it's now $5.50 and I wait till Sunday, I'm paying $5.50. And in addition to the fees we're being charged on that shipping label, we're paying the higher rate. You can't go back to your buyer and say the shipping's higher now. So make sure you're getting your shipping done if you do calculated shipping. What do you guys think about that?
No, you're talking 5 to 6%. I'm not worried about 5 to 6%. If it's a one-time thing, it's a one-time thing. I'll adjust my rates going forward on Monday. What
Out of our control. Yeah.
If that means you're going under, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, I'm going to probably make that as the moment where Jenna finally does her shipping video. She did a shipping video, and it's funny. She had like about 15 packages that she had to deal with, and she tried doing the whole shipping video, all the packages. She was out there for an hour and a half to 2 hours doing her shipping video, and I'm like, yeah, I ain't going to try to edit this thing out. We need to give you like 3 to 4 items and you make a 30-minute video. That's acceptable. But we're going to come up with a shipping video here pretty soon, but that might be Saturday for the packages that we've sold. Let's see here. We're getting close to the end, but a couple more comments before we close it out. Email says, one time a scammer that did the switcheroo sent me a random item through the post office as well. They lost the case because they sent it too late. I think they're scamming people and forgot who to send it to. Well, they scam enough people, they're going to get shut down, as evidenced by the person I last dealt with. Great point about the quick growth and shipping. I could see it overloading some people. Slow growth isn't the worst thing when you can maintain your processes and still provide great service. Remember, there's a reason why eBay puts a cap on new accounts. So maybe you have an established account, but they'll only limit you for the first month with 100 items, right? So it's because they don't want you to create a bad buying experience for a buyer because you're overwhelmed now. You've got too many items listed. You have too many sales. So there's a reason why eBay does that. So I think sometimes we look at it as, eBay's picking on me, or, I'm being treated unfairly, but there's a reason why a lot of these things happen to sellers, whether we agree with it or not. So, guys, you got any closing thoughts? I want to get Beard a chance to be able to take a break before his live stream. So let me know what you guys thinking before we head out here. Beard, anything?
I just need to walk over there and grab a beer. So I can get ready.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to your show. I feel like you've just been charging your batteries this episode, and I'm ready I'm ready to see you go.
So so Beard has a cat. Obviously, Beard is hooked up to a catheter right now, so he can go onto his. Others like us, we have to get up and use the restroom between shows. So a little TMI, but
I drilled a hole in the wall right here, so it just goes right out the wall.
there you go. I don't even want to talk about that. Nonetheless, want to thank you guys for being with us here. We had a good time, good discussion, really, and we're going to continue that discussion both on Beard's show. He's going to have his live here in about 15 minutes on the Bearded Picker channel. Also, in the morning at 8 a.m., we have the Profit Playbook podcast, where we also go into a lot of different topics. So join us for both of those things. And with that, guys, I want to thank you for being here. Thank you guys, both Josh Galt and Bearded Picker, for being a part of the stream and really last minute, just, being available. I appreciate you guys for that. So thank you guys. We will see you on Monday's program, and Jenna will be here. Take care.
More than a